I must tell you that Hap is a cousin of mine, and I have huge respect for him.
I am Hap's son-in-law, I guess. He's my father-in-law. That's how I'm related to Hap. And now we're partners in the business. I've been involved in Abraham Catering for over 20 years now, and have known Hap since I was 15. So we played basketball together back then, and I'm still better than him, believe that or not.
Hap is my dad, and I have been involved in the catering with him my whole life in one way or the other, but mostly the last 25 years.
He has really been a real professional in the culinary arts and in building his business.
One of the great things about Hap is, I call it respect and the golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated, and he's awesome at that.
And just, I mean, his hard work and dedication and his attention to detail, that's something that I definitely get from him, is the detailed part of our business. And he's taught me the little things that make such a big difference. It's what separates us from being a good caterer to being an exceptional caterer.
He loves excellence. He's committed to excellence. He's committed to keeping up with the times. And I think he just absolutely wants to have the very best catering anywhere around, and I'm so proud of what he does.
I'll never forget Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting, one of our biggest events. They hired us to do desserts and champagne for 100 people, and 2,000 show up. And we're at the event, him and I, and he literally said, let's get in the car, and we went to like 10 grocery stores, bought every bottle of champagne, and made sure there was champagne there for everybody. All 2,000 people versus 100, and it would have been very easy to be like, you know what, that's all they ordered, that's all we're doing. But he made sure that every guest was taken care of that night, which was totally awesome.
Hap really takes care of the people that works for him. They stay with him. He trains, he continues to train, he doesn't stop training.
Man, we've had people, Marga Mccoy, who's probably here tonight if I had to guess, has been with us 40 plus years, Jim Major 30 plus.
Josie 30.
20 plus, I mean.
Well, when somebody asks me, why is Hap getting in the Hall of Fame? I guess my response would be, why hasn't he gotten it earlier? He really deserves it.
He's been just a tremendous role model for us through the years, and
I think, and our kids, which is crazy. The third generation of grandkids seeing their grandfather work that hard and still be involved at 73.
He strives for excellence every time he's involved in something. And I just really respect that. On top of that, he's just a good human being.
Please welcome to the stage 2017 Hall of Fame inductee, Hap Abraham.
73? Okay. I'm only 72. Give me a break. And I've only got 4 minutes, so I better get right to it. I started in this business in 1968, in the catering business, with my dad, and also got married that same year. And my mother-in-law's here, Harriet Major, if you wouldn't mind standing up. The one thing I remember about the wedding is that I ran out of food very early, and the lesson there was get your money up front from your mother-in-law. Well, I joined my dad in 1968 and worked with him for whatever number of years it took to make it feel like it was time for me to take over. I can't remember exactly how many years that was, but I'm going to guess 7, 8, 9 years. I'm not really sure. We did a number of things. My first real contract was with the Firehouse Dinner Theater, if any of you remember that. And I was in the dinner theater business. And the one thing really nice about the dinner theater business is you get a lot of free publicity. Every time they change shows, they review the show on TV, newspapers, radio, everywhere you can possibly imagine. And if you do a great job on the food, that's what they talk about also. So that really helped. Also, that's when Marga Mccoy joined the company 44 years ago, and she is still here. As you were mentioned in the video earlier, please stand up. Thank you. Then we moved on, fast forward to 1992. I decided it was time to move from a 2,000 square foot building to a 10,000 square foot building. And I'm telling you, that was very scary. But in 1995 or 6, my daughter and her husband joined, and things started going crazy. I mean, they worked with me like I did my dad, and they worked for 6 or 7 years or 8 years or whatever it took until it finally felt like it was their business, and I decided it was time to let them take over, and they did, and they're doing a spectacular job. We have a number of venues that were started by the three of us, and we have at least 7 contracted venues, and we have 7 of our own venues and 3 contracted venues, and one of the venues is the place where they bought themselves and live and rent out for parties, and it's called Lucille's Old Market, and that is doing wonderfully. But we cannot do this with just us. We have plenty of wonderful people working with Abraham Catering. Jim Major, our executive chef, if he would stand up. Like myself, Jim graduated from the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and he worked in a number of restaurants in California and Colorado and came to us in 1980, which is when I stopped cooking and things started working out really great. So I thank you for that, Jim. And speaking of culinary schools, this is a wonderful school right here. Unfortunately, it was not here at the time that I went to school. We do have a student in the room tonight from here, and his name is Mike Fringer. If Mike would please stand and be recognized. This young man is spectacular. He does a wonderful job. He runs a number of events by himself, and we're very proud of him and the work he does, and we hope that you stay with us, my man. Thank you. I would also like to introduce, I know I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to just skip through this. I'd like my family to stand up, if you will. My 3 daughters, Jennifer, Christine, Leah, not necessarily in that order, Jennifer's husband, Brian, Leah's husband, Paul Eiding, Christine's husband, Clint Williams, my oldest grandchild, stand up, Sydney, Sydney Cobbs, her brother, Max Cobbs, Christine's son, Trey, Christine's son, Lance. My grandson, Charlie Eiding, is not here. My granddaughter, Lauren Eiding, is not here. They're being babysat by my sister-in-law, Nancy Major. And while we're on that subject, my biggest thanks of all goes to my wife, who worked with me in the business for all those years, Barbara Major Abraham. She passed away 2 years ago, and she would be very happy and very proud to see us here tonight being honored. And she had everything to do with it, that is for sure. She worked with me side by side at events throughout the years while operating and managing our home and our children. And then she stopped as soon as Sydney was born. She stopped and did everything she could with the grandkids and did a wonderful job. So I'd like to say thank you to Barbara. I would also like to introduce my friend, Karen Renstrom, who's sitting with me at the table. And the star of the video, Mike Yanni, who is also sitting at our table. Mike has been a very big supporter of our company for a lot of years, and we very much appreciate it. I know that, my brother Steve, why don't you stand up too? And Gay, I really want to thank Steve for not being in the business. He is a very successful therapist, psychotherapist in Omaha, and I want to thank you for that, Steve, for not taking away what is mine. And obviously, I'm going to close by introducing some people that really make our business run. Chad Morford, if you would stand, he is president of our Old Market venues. He makes all the venues pop. Does a spectacular job. And Ann Pitchka is sitting next to him. She is our ace in the hole, let's call it. She makes sure everything everywhere happens and does a fantastic job of that. Ann, if you would stand up. And our very capable office manager, Diane Nenneman, been in that position for 25 years and been with Abraham Catering for at least 32 years, I'm guessing. So thank you very much, Diane. Who am I missing in the... Oh, Kent Jones. Take a stand, Mr. Jones. He was a bartender, a waiter. He's been about everything a guy in the catering business can be. And right now he's on our management team and makes sure that all of our locations and all of our big events happen. He runs the setup team that makes sure that when the chef, Jim or Mike show up, that everything's in the proper place and everything goes well. I'd like to end this. I'm sure I missed a number of things, but I'd like to congratulate the culinary school on the most fantastic dinner tonight. I mean, That was really good. It was hot. The tenderloin was medium rare. The potatoes were to die for. I want that recipe. It was just potatoes, but boy, were they good. And everything from start to finish, you did a spectacular job. Thank you, Randy. Randy and I have been friends for quite some time, and I think he runs a wonderful school. Thank you, Randy.